This is a brief orientation to using the MiraCosta College library databases. So first off, let's talk about why you would want to do your research through the databases at the college rather than doing it through, say, a Google search. Probably the most important reason is that you can access content through the databases that you wouldn't be able to get through Google. Much of the content through the databases is copyrighted, and so you need to pay for access to that content. With your student services fee, you're paying for this content. It's part of what the student services fee goes towards, and therefore, as soon as you have authenticated with your SURF username and password, you have access to all this information. The other reason is that the information on the databases has already been vetted by a real human being, and you're not going to get commercial websites. You're not going to get unreliable or untrustworthy content. So it just makes the whole research process more efficient. Okay, so to access the databases, you will just go to the MiraCosta College homepage, and then from the top navigation, select Library. And once we're in the library, you could do a search right here. This would include stuff that is in the library, physical resources that are in the library, in the stacks in the library building itself. But this is where we want to go for the databases. You can either do searching for the databases by looking at subject indexes, or if you actually know the name of your database, you can go through the A through Z listing. So for example, if you're in an English 100 class, maybe you're doing a position argument and you know there's a database called Opposing Viewpoints, and so you could just go to this source right here, go to the O section and find that database. But if you don't know the name of the database that you'd like to search, go ahead and do database by subject. And this will give you an overview of all the different databases that the college subscribes to. So if you are in, say, an art class, you can see that these are some of the databases, and make sure you go to click more and you can see the other databases that we subscribe to besides the first ones that are listed on the landing page here. If you are unsure where you want to go, always just go to General, and probably EBSCO is probably the most common database to search for. So I would probably recommend that for most topics. Go ahead and check out what EBSCO has. When you click on this database, you're going to see that it's going to ask me, because I'm doing this from off campus. If you're on campus, oh, I guess it didn't. I guess it remembered my last login. But if you're off campus, normally there's going to be a little pop-up window here that's going to ask for your SURF username and password so that you can authenticate to the database. If you're on campus, you won't see that at all, and it'll just let you in right away. So you'll see this kind of feels a little bit like Google. You can go ahead and search put in your key terms, and then I always recommend that you kind of look at whatever the database gives you on that landing page for different options. So if you want to find everything in your search term, if you're looking for only full text, I think most of the databases default to checking that for you. Some of them don't, so you might want to look for that. If it's not checked, then you're going to see abstracts of articles, and for some people that's frustrating because you want to read the whole article right away. So checking full text is probably a feature that most people want to do. If your instructor has asked for a scholarly or peer-reviewed journal, you can click on that if you're looking for a certain date range. So I just recommend that you take some time to look at the different search options before you just kind of jump in and do your search. So that's EBSCO. Maybe we'll just do a quick search. Let's say you're working on this short story, The Yellow Wallpaper. Make sure that you put quote marks if you are working on a story. What am I doing here? Yellow Wallpaper. Make sure you put quote marks around the name of a story, so otherwise you're going to get all kinds of articles about wallpaper. And I'm just going to leave it at that. I'm just going to leave The Yellow Wallpaper and just see what the database brings back. And if it's too much, we can refine it from here. So this offered 238 sources. That's probably more than I want to deal with right now. I'm probably not going to actually go through and look at 238 different sources here. So the next step would be to do this little trick on the side here, look for thesaurus term. And then you can kind of refine your search a little bit. So maybe you're using feminism, and now you can just look at those 5 sources on feminism. Maybe you're thinking about allegory and you're doing mythological criticism. You can do that. Go ahead and click on show more, and you'll see other things in here as well. You can kind of check out, maybe you want to do a psychological read, and you can look at mental illness. There's only one article on mental illness, but it gives you kind of a quick view of what's actually available here of the initial search results, which again we had 238 on this original search, and you can kind of refine that results without having to kind of scroll through each and every one of these articles. So again, to find that really handy little trick, it's over on the side here. When you first look, it's going to be closed. So just go ahead and open up the arrow here so you can see the different tags that each one of these articles have been labeled. And then of course go to show more if you want to see other subcategories here beyond the ones that first land on the first initial exposing of the different terms. Okay, so this is EBSCOhost. That's the one we're in right now. I'm going to go back to our databases by subject. So we looked here in general topics and we looked at EBSCOhost. So for English 201, I think another good spot to go to is, we'll keep going down here to the literature section. So we do have some databases, especially for literature students and for English classes. And you will see here we have the Gale Literary Sources, the Magle Online Literature, and a couple other ones. In my experience, here's Literature Criticism Online and the Literature Resource Center. In my experience, I don't always have a lot of luck with these different databases. I tend to find more in the EBSCO and then in another database that I'll show you in just a minute. But just to give you a sense of this particular database, I'm going to open it up, and I'm just going to use our exact same search terms. Again, remember to put the title of the story in quote marks, otherwise it's going to come back with all kinds of stuff you're probably not interested in. Here you'll notice it anticipated this, so I'm just going to go ahead and select that and do a search for it. And see what it comes up. Oh, thank you. Okay, so here we have 122 sources. And again, I can limit my search. So go ahead and take a look at opening that up to see what else you can limit this to if you're interested in some of these other topics, and you can and select one of those. So that's a way to kind of refine through for this database how to kind of sift through the search results. And I also just want to kind of highlight here, it's telling you right away that you have full text, and that's probably what you're going to want to look for. Okay, so that was under, again, the Literature Criticism Online. I haven't looked at this for a few months, and actually this was resulting in quite a few more results than I had seen in the past, so this looks like it might be improving a little bit. Alrighty, the last database I want to just alert you guys to, and again, I'm going to go to databases by subject, just so we're kind of looking at this all from the same initial kind of landing page. The other one I'm going to recommend that you guys use is JSTOR. So I went to the general, and JSTOR is a fantastic database to find, especially academic journal articles for literature. So if we go into JSTOR, again, it's going to have a different look and feel. And here we're going to go ahead and use our same search terms. And I'm just going to let it do its thing. I want to have articles. I don't really want reviews of the story or research reports or pamphlets. I just really want kind of scholarly articles. Don't care about dates. And so I'm going to go ahead and search with just looking for articles. And it came back with 419. Now that's a lot, and I'm going to look for ways to refine this a little bit. So I'm going to just kind of look through what we have here, and I can see if we're interested in folklore or feminism, or if we're interested in history. So you can see that we can kind of refine our search results a little bit with looking here on the left for looking under the subject terms. Okay, so I'm going to just bring us back to how we access these and just do a really brief rundown again. So again, to access the databases, you're going to go to the MiraCosta College homepage. We're backing out of here quite a bit. Maybe it's just quicker just to go. Okay, you'll go to the library, and databases by subject. Two databases that I thought are really helpful for English 201. EBSCO was the first one. The other one, click More and go down to JSTOR. That's also a very good one. And then under the subject index, go ahead and look for literature and literary criticism. And we have a few different databases here, and you can search in these different databases. I think what you'll find is you're going to see some repetition. You'll see some sources that are present in all three of those databases. Some of them are going to have unique finds in them, but go ahead and just take a look at the different sources. For your first essay, you need to have two sources from the library databases. So that's our minimum requirements for the first essay. So if you have any questions, just give me an email and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Okay, bye for now.